The trade tensions between the United States and China have evolved into a complex economic chess match, with both sides carefully weighing their moves. Donald Trump's campaign rhetoric promised dramatic tariffs of 60% or more on Chinese imports, but the actual implementation has been more restrained, with increases of approximately 20 percentage points. This measured approach reflects the delicate balance required when the world's two largest economies engage in trade disputes. The fundamental trade relationship reveals a significant imbalance that shapes both nations' strategic options. China's exports to the United States reached nearly $440 billion last year, dwarfing the $144 billion in U.S. goods flowing the other direction. This asymmetry limits China's ability to respond with straightforward tariff measures, pushing Beijing toward more nuanced retaliatory tactics. Their initial response targeted $21 billion worth of U.S. agricultural products with 10 to 15% tariffs, specifically affecting American soybean farmers who had previously sold more than half their exports to Chinese buyers in 2024. China's regulatory toolkit extends well beyond traditional tariffs. Recent actions include suspending import licenses for 3 major U.S. soybean companies, including the farmer-owned cooperative CHS, citing fungal contamination concerns. Similar measures affected U.S. lumber imports, which faced outright bans due to alleged pest issues. The customs registration process has become another effective pressure point, with American pork and poultry exporters experiencing temporary registration lapses while hundreds of beef suppliers remain in limbo with expired status. These tactics mirror previous actions, such as the 2020 Australian lobster incident, where shipments faced extended inspections after Australia called for an investigation into COVID-19's origins. However, China's current economic challenges, including sluggish growth in its $19 trillion economy, may temper aggressive measures that could further disrupt its vital export sector. Corporate targeting represents another significant avenue for Chinese retaliation. Following recent U.S. tariff implementations, Beijing launched antitrust investigations into major American technology companies, including Google and Nvidia. While these initial probes had limited immediate impact, the ban on Illumina's gene sequencers demonstrated more substantial consequences, contributing to a 35% decline in the company's share value this year. Despite China representing only 7% of their revenue, companies with deeper Chinese market exposure face even greater vulnerability. Tesla stands out as a prime example, with its Shanghai mega factory accounting for approximately half of its global production capacity and China representing a rare bright spot with 9% sales growth while other markets declined. The company's position as the largest foreign electric vehicle manufacturer in China, coupled with its connection to Trump advisor Elon Musk, makes it a particularly attractive leverage point for Beijing. Apple presents another potential pressure point in China's strategy. Despite efforts to diversify production to countries like India, the technology giant still relies heavily on Chinese manufacturing for iPhone production. The company's $27 billion operating income from China in the 2024 financial year, representing over 1/5 of its global total, underscores its vulnerability to Chinese regulatory action. Currency manipulation offers another powerful tool in China's arsenal. While maintaining yuan stability against the dollar during recent tensions, experts suggest Beijing might permit up to a 10% depreciation if faced with Trump's threatened 60% tariffs. Bank of Singapore chief economist Mansoor Mohiuddin indicates any such move would be carefully managed to prevent uncontrolled depreciation, with a likely floor around 8.2 yuan per dollar. The level of China's former dollar peg abandoned in 2005. The rare earth metals sector represents perhaps China's most potent economic weapon. Controlling approximately 70% of global production, China's dominance in these critical materials affects manufacturing across multiple industries, from semiconductors to electric vehicles. Recent restrictions on gallium exports provide a glimpse of potential impacts, with global prices rising 20% to $663 per kilogram after direct sales to the U.S. were halted in December 2023. However, the effectiveness of rare earth restrictions faces limitations due to supply chain complexity. Most Chinese rare earth exports flow through intermediate manufacturers in countries like Japan and South Korea before reaching U.S. end users. A U.S. Geological Survey analysis suggests that a complete ban on direct Chinese gallium exports would reduce U.S. GDP by only about 0.1%, $3.1 billion. To achieve maximum impact, China would need to extend restrictions to third-country manufacturers using Chinese materials and products destined for the U.S. market. This approach would mirror U.S. semiconductor control strategies, but could significantly escalate tensions and disrupt global supply chains. The situation remains dynamic, with potential for either further escalation or diplomatic resolution. While both nations possess significant economic leverage, the interconnected nature of the global economy means any major escalation would likely result in mutual economic damage. Encouraging both sides to carefully consider their next moves in this complex economic confrontation.